We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
With us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay.
Hi, my name is Serena. I am a mother to a toddler and currently pregnant.
And hi, I'm Lisa, also known as the Singing Amma. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma.
At the beginning of my first pregnancy, I felt like I was lacking my village, which is why we are here creating a village with you, in hopes that you won't feel as isolated as I did.
I also felt the lack of a village in my early parenting years way back when. And I come to our village with a background in early childhood education. I have been coaching parents along their parenting journeys and supporting them for over 35 years.
Amma, Lisa, and I invite you to grab your latte
Or your tea
and come sit around the proverbial fire with us each week.
when we come together to have a conversation where we'll be talking all things parenting, keeping it real, keeping it raw, right here with you.
Hey, Amma.
Hi, Mama Serena.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good today. Thank you. How about you, Mama? How about you, pregnant Mama?
I am tired.
Mm.
Yes, and today I wanted to talk to you and have a conversation about feeling tired and feeling like you have to constantly entertain your child. And that's something I've been struggling with, and I'm getting bigger and I just feel like I need to rest sometimes, but my daughter comes running up to me and tries to pull my hand to bring me to her little kitchen and show me what she's cooking, or just to take me into the room and show me something, and it's just tiring, and then that mom guilt hits me and I feel like I need to just be with her the whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
but I also want her to be independent.
What a beautiful conversation to have. Pregnant with number 2 or more future pregnancies, but pregnant with the second one while you have your toddler running around. How do you get those rest times? How do you take care of yourself while you're growing that new baby inside? Really great conversation. And right there, I just want to jump in with some ideas that I have right there. So, if you are needing to rest, it's okay. And it's actually really appropriate to let your toddler know that mama needs some rest now. And I'm here with you and I can play with you. So let's find a way where mama can be resting on the couch or in the bed, wherever you are, and we can play together. So that's one way, is to get them to help you both figure out a way that you could play together. So if she wants to bring you to the kitchen, say, "Oh, mama's having rest time. So could you deliver? Does your kitchen deliver? And you could create it like it's a takeout restaurant or a delivery restaurant. What kind of food does your kitchen cook? What kind of food does so get your creative brain engaged. And I'll tell you, children are so creative. They haven't had it squashed out of them, which most of us as adults, we get a lot of creativity, unfortunately, squashed out of us through, people not knowing the incredible importance of creativity. But if you put that bug in a toddler's ear or a preschooler's ear, how could we play with mama lying down resting? And it won't be like I get to close my eyes for half an hour and actually rest, but she'll come and go and bring you different foods, and it'll only take a minute. But the thing that I find with children is if I can really be enthusiastic, it feeds them so much. Like if
Yes.
she was coming and I was distracted on my phone, say, not that that ever happens in the world today, but if I was distracted, or maybe I was trying to read a book. Some people still do that. Um, and she kept coming up to me, and I was quote unquote resting. And she kept coming up and saying, here's some Chinese food. Here's some, whatever, all the different foods that her restaurant was bringing to you while you were resting. And you were like, okay, thanks. Oh, that's yummy. Oh, yeah. But not really engaged.
Mm-hmm.
You would get interrupted more often. However, if she brought you the food and you were really present, right, engaged with her, and you're like, oh, this is the best I've ever tasted. Oh, it's so yummy. And then she would run off. And I know from experience that when I'm fully excited and engaged in my response, they get more out of it. And so they don't need to come back and back and back and back and back and back because they're getting their needs met for engagement with you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Making sure you're responding excited. I know my daughter responds to that. She loves it because she feels
Yeah.
like she's entertaining me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she loves that.
Yeah.
She loves going into her kitchen and cooking me something, and she's more than happy to bring it to me. And if I engage and interact and pretend to take a bite and say, that's so yummy. And just even when I give her a cookie in the future and she tries to copy that, it's so
Yeah.
adorable.
Exactly. Exactly. They are learning all the time from us. So if we want them to pay attention to us when we're talking to them, they're going to learn that by us paying attention to them when they are talking to us, right?
Mhm.
So, with a toddler and you're pregnant and you're tired and you need some rest time, one of the things I'll say to set up your day is to give 100% to your child at the beginning of the day. Start your day with engaging with them in a play activity or reading to them or going for a walk with them where your attention is really feeding them, filling them up with you. And that can be a really good foundation for the day going well. If you get up and you're distracted immediately into all the things you need to get done that day, then there's a cycle that happens where you're busy, they need you, you're busy, they need you, you're busy, whereas if you start with that beautiful foundation of I'm here, what are we going to do? If it's half an hour, even if it's an hour, great. Whatever amount of time you can give them 100%.
Even making breakfast together and getting them into learning how to crack an egg or something like
Yes.
that.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah. And one thing I started doing that to try to help with that is Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my day with my baby. So I always try to do gratitude, keep my gratitude journal in the morning. And then I try to set the intention for the day. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, my intention is to enjoy my day with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get some chores done in between, and I try to engage her in helping, like when we do laundry, I try to help her put the laundry in the machine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Little ones so much want to be involved. You know, I've had my little guys. Sometimes you have to coerce them a wee bit with how do you want to help me put the dirty laundry in the washing machine? No. Do you want to play basketball with the dirty laundry and shoot for some baskets? And then every time that sock goes in, when they're 2 years old, they might not be able to lift up a big heavy sweater, but they can throw the socks in and the underpants in. And every time one goes in, it's like, yeah, slam dunk, like you can just make a game out of it. Actually, my Amma always used to say, every job is easy when you make a game out of it. And it's
Aw.
become this sort of fun saying that we have in the family now. Let's make a game out of it. And I do that with children, like just naturally, because if you're, and it's like putting garbage in the trash can, slam dunk that scrunched up piece of paper that you just threw on the floor and I want it to be in the trash can.
Mhm.
Make a game out of it. That's the changing the mood one again that we keep referring to, right? It's not a drudgery. Children actually can really enjoy helping with the laundry, with sweeping the floor, with, all those things that are our sort of chores and our drudgery of daily life. But if you engage them, you can actually have more fun doing them too
Yeah.
sometimes because you get into the creative mind of the child. It's
So when does that creativity disappear? When I would go to school and the teacher would say, "Does anybody have a question?" I would get stuck feeling like I need to think of a question. Why can't I think of a question? And people would ask a question. I'm like, that's a great question. Why didn't I think about that? And then I kind of, now that I'm older and I look back, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know if I'm even going off topic, but I feel like my dad saying, do this because I said so, and not letting you question anything
mm-hmm,
kind of killed my
mm-hmm.
creativity. And it's, you
Yes.
do this because I'm your father and I said so, and that's the only explanation you get, and there's no room for
No room for you to think for yourself, for one
yes,
thing,
yes,
right? And absolutely, um, and parents mean well. They're not trying to squash their children's creativity. And if we don't understand, most parents don't have training in child development. Because of my background in early childhood education from college and my years and years, I've spent my entire teen years with children. So I learned a lot just from being with them. But my training also, I learned so much about the importance of creativity and how it's actually what makes the world go around. You know, so for us to be unknowingly squashing our children's creativity is a very sad commentary of our culture, actually. So with creativity, like we are creative beings. We are children, young children. We're born creative. And the babies even, as they're reaching out, those first little infant reaching out and touching the different fabrics around them, or touching your hair, or touching your skin, or feeling those different things. That's the very beginning of learning about the world around them. And when they're a little bit older and they can pick up the rattle and they can shake it and it makes noise, it's like, whoa, look what I'm doing. I'm creating something. I'm creating sound, and so that's the beginning of interacting with the environment and making something happen. That's the basis of creativity. Then as they're a little bit older and you give them some crayons or some paint on an easel. I've always had an easel in my home. I don't know if most parents out there do. If your children are in preschool or daycare, of course, they will have a painting easel. But if not, then, crayons and felt pens on pieces of paper, and try for big pieces of paper for those little kids, because their creativity is going to use up a lot of space. They don't have what we call fine motor development yet. They're just starting to, which is holding a crayon or a pen and moving it around. They're going to be big movements at first. Allowing children time for creativity and just create whatever they want to create is also incredibly important for you as a tired mama, to give you some time and space. Creativity will do so much for the peace in your family environment, in your home environment. I'm kind of going all over the map here, but I'm going to bring it all together. When children are allowed the opportunity to be creative, whether it's with art activities or creative play, like imaginative play, give them some dress ups, give them some fun hats to wear, different kinds of hats, give them some different kinds of clothing, some little fun little handbags, whatever it is. Give them some dress ups to play with. Create spaces for them to go into. She's got her little kitchen. That's creative play. That's creative imagination, right? She's creating something out of nothing. And art activities. The beautiful thing about giving children opportunities to create through art, not something where they have to color in the lines, because that's kind of similar to your dad saying, do it because I said so. This is the way you need to do it because that's what you've been told to do. That's what coloring books are. Do it this way because that's where the lines are. What we really want to give our toddlers and young children, actually through the whole childhood, but for sure the toddlers and young children, we want to give them the experience of creating whatever they want to create. They can choose the colors. They can choose which color of paper to draw on. They can choose right now. When we're recording this, it's right coming up for Valentine's Day, and so I put paper on the table for them to color on or paint on, and some of the paper I make into hearts shapes, and some of them are just rectangle papers, and I put different colors on the table, and they can choose which color they want to use. And of course, with the paints and the crayons, same thing, they can choose. And in that simple creativity, so much is going on. If you're given the freedom to be creative with no specific outcome in mind, so it's called open-ended art activities or open-ended creativity, then you, the child, gets to experience fun and pleasure. It's just a relaxing, calming experience. Often you'll see and hear children processing something that's going on in their world when they're being creative, whether imaginative play or artistic creativity. They will paint something that is a reflection of something they've just experienced. They will do imaginative play, and you'll hear them getting mad at their dolly, just like you got mad at them yesterday. And that's them processing. And it's free for them. They feel free in that place, and they feel safe. And if they don't get in trouble for telling their dolly to stop it and be a good girl, and you can actually hear yourself reflected. If you have said that to your daughter, you go, oops, I actually want to learn how to reword it when I'm feeling frustrated. So they're creating all this expression of their life. And the fun and pleasure can also be, when we're expecting our children to act appropriately, quote unquote, in society and in our family, it's really quite stressful for them. So allowing them time for creativity helps them to just take that deep breath and go, okay, now I can just paint squiggly lines and nobody cares if it's looks like something. It's just, and they're not thinking that. That's just what their psyche is doing.
Yeah, and it sounds so important, but usually when you hear about like the way a school is set up and their day in a school, art should be included more. Art, music, play. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of more focused on just learning things and not that creative play that will
Mm-hmm.
help that will help them.
Exactly. So I strongly encourage parents, if you're a stay at home parent, great, then allow for creative free time. Free play is a really big thing that needs to be in children's lives. It's a topic of conversation. You can look it up online. Free play, the importance of free play, the importance of creativity. Like, look all those things up. I encourage you. And if you are sending your child to a preschool or a daycare, it's really good to find out what they're doing in those programs. If they're expecting, and this is going to go against the grain, I know you guys, I know you've been led to believe that getting children to learn their letters and learn their numbers and even learn how to start spelling, and adding to their vocabulary, like we are getting inundated with teaching children younger and younger and younger and younger. And like that's a good thing. But actually, studies are coming out. And if you look at anything coming out of Norway and Sweden and Iceland, like the Nordic countries, have a really strong belief in the freedom of early childhood and the importance of that freedom. The studies are showing that children who are learning and being taught to sit and learn their letters and learn their numbers and learn how to spell and all that at very young ages, by the time they are 7 or 8 or 9 years old, they're actually not ahead at all from the kids who are just learning it now at 7 years old. So, and the kids who were taught to do that at a very young age are actually have a deficit in emotional intelligence and social intelligence, social abilities. So there are drawbacks to pushing for the learning and shoving aside the creativity that is natural.
And also, right, when you're being creative, there's the left side and the right side, like the artistic side and
Mm-hmm.
the calculated side. And when you're being creative and painting or musically being creative, you're exercising both sides, which is really
Yes.
engaging and exercising your brain to help you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But also, there's also a big bully that is kind of beating down our creative side, which is the iPad and YouTube
Oh,
and
man. Mm-hmm.
technology. And instead of kids playing with a doll and making believe they're in a
Oh.
family and interacting, they're watching somebody else do it on YouTube and just watching the way one kid is playing. And instead of using their own brain to act out a
Mm-hmm.
scenario, they're just watching somebody else do it.
And that breaks my heart. It
Yeah.
actually breaks my heart. And it has me very concerned about where we are going as humanity. Where are we going? How are those children who are not Piaget said, I don't know how many millions of years ago, it was said, anybody who studied anything about early childhood development, play is a child's work. They are learning all about their environment, all about social, emotional development. They are getting physiological development when they play. They're getting intellectual development when they play. They are processing what's going on in the world around them, and that's how they're learning about the world around them. You don't learn from watching or from being told. We learn by doing. This has been studied for decades. This is absolute. So the other thing I'm going to say to encourage, and I don't want to have you listeners, I don't want to have you, I don't want to be inciting guilt in your mama or dad brain. I want the awareness there. I want to
Mm-hmm.
help you become aware that maybe what you're being fed by the media and the trends is not actually great. And I will say, to inspire you to get your children into creative play and creative art activities, is that you think if you sit them down in front of their iPad or the television or whatever it is, that screen that you're going to put them in front of, that you will get a break. And it actually is going to backfire, because a child sitting watching a screen, especially very, very young children, we need to move our bodies. Our bodies are physical in the world. They need to be moving. Having all that much information coming in to a toddler brain, oh my gosh, way too much information. They're going to come off that screen and they're going to be wilder than when you sat them down. Have you noticed that? Do you see that in reality
Yes.
out there? Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if they're staring at a screen or they're watching the behaviors that they're portraying on the screen, they're going to mimic
Yes.
those behaviors. And sometimes, on YouTube, there's so many videos on there that are just, I'm sorry, they're stupid. And these kids are watching it and absorbing it. And there's no sense, there's no purpose, there's no points at all of these videos. And these,
Yeah. I
it's,
remember when my daughter was young and we didn't have computers even then, you guys, but in our homes. But I remember when we would go to play with different kids, she would pick up their behaviors and she would try them out at home. So I remember this one specific couple of sisters that we went to play with, and they were quite a different family than we were. So the girls would bicker back and forth and they would talk back to their mom, and they would just be have a very different energy in how they were in the world. And so we left their house one day, and I remember my daughter being exactly like those girls, and I just went, okay, whoa, that's actually how that family is in their energy with each other. That's not how we are. I get that you're processing that right now, and we just need to leave that back at their house. We're not bringing that home with us. So, in the real world, I could have that conversation. If I was a parent right now and my child was enacting crappy behavior because they had just watched something on YouTube, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm not going to have that YouTube going on anymore, because they're going to bring it out. They're going to express it. They're going to practice what they just learned. They're going to see how that goes in my world, because that was funny when I watched it, but it's maybe not funny because mom's now going to get mad at me, like, oh my gosh. Oh. So
wow.
did you get anything in all of that about how to be with your toddler and maybe get some more rest? That's where we started.
Yes, just letting her be creative and letting her entertain herself while keeping me engaged. All I want to do is lay down on the couch sometimes. So
Mm-hmm.
I can easily engage with her from the couch, but letting
Hmm.
her be creative and be able to find the spaces where she can play. And I just wanted to add, which is something I think is important because I used to organize, but making sure that her play space is organized and that she knows how to
Hmm.
maintain that organization, because when everything's just a mess, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to
Yes.
focus,
And
even as a
having
kid. Yes.
fewer toys, having giving them everything and having a huge space of toy room or a huge space in your living room full of toys is actually distracting for a child's brain. You can have two or three things out, put the rest away in the closet, and rotate what is out for them to play with. I do that all the time in my childcare world. And of course, we do that all the time in preschools and daycares where I've worked. Rotation of what's available. Then when you bring out what's been in the closet for a month, it's like, I'd forgotten I had this toy and now I get to play with it again. You don't have to go buy new things, just put half of it away or three-quarters of it or whatever. So that's another really good one.
Thankfully, I think we do a good job at that. And she has her little work area where she can sit at her desk and paint and do all that. She has her kitchen area, and then she has her little, like, where she races her cars. So,
Nice.
and then all the toys are tucked away, and she helps with the cleanup. And she
Yes.
she knows cleanup time, and we put everything back. But
Cleanup time, cleanup time. Come on, everybody, it's cleanup time. That's how I always start cleanup time for decades, and it works like a charm. They start singing, they start tidying up. It makes it fun. Change the mood.
yes, in our in our house, we tell Alexa, put on the Barney cleanup song, and then we all
Okay.
we all start singing together. And
Okay. That's the modern way.
yes, even if I tell her, okay, Andrea, it's time to start cleaning up, she's not gonna start until Barney's singing the cleanup song, and she tunes
Okay.
in, and that gets her to clean up right away.
Yeah.
But that's also really important because when everything is all over the floor and they can't they can't think and concentrate, and then that's when I'm bored. There's nothing
Yeah.
to do. I have no
Yes.
toys, even though they're
Yes.
all over the floor.
And if that happens partway through the day, some days are going to be chaotic. We know
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
They're just going to be chaotic. They're going to be like, you're going to be pulling your hair out by lunchtime. If that's the type of day, then you need to step in and you need to help set it up for success for the rest of your day. So you could come in and start helping with the cleanup, put everything away, and set it up. And you can do this at the beginning of the day too. What kinds of games should we play today? And you can set them up for, if you're going to play takeout restaurant. And also, if you need a nap or a lay down on the couch, mama's got to go lay down soon. So, what games would you like to play while mama's having a rest? And, you can say that your body needs to rest while the baby's growing inside. And I wouldn't say that too often because then that's going to mean your time is taken away by the new
Mhm.
baby.
Yeah.
Um, but just, indicating that you need to rest is fine. So setting her up, one thing that came to mind when you were talking was if you ever build a fort with blankets or getting big, huge boxes from appliance stores, they often have boxes from, refrigerators or a washer or dryer or something. Oh my gosh, like those big boxes, or you build a fort with blankets and chairs in the house.
Or
If
all
you
the
can,
Amazon boxes.
or they can play in those little spaces for
Yeah.
hours. And if you can handle it, leave them set up for a few days. Leave it
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
It's so good. It's so good. And so you could do that at the beginning of your day. Let's build a fort together. And that half hour that you're going to spend with them, 100% giving them attention, set them up with some exciting things for the next few hours.
Yeah, and I think learning about all the way creativity and allowing them to play and have free play just relieves mom guilt if I need to lay down.
Totally.
That's the easiest. That's
Totally.
because that's the hardest part about it. So learning that and listening to how creativity benefits my daughter
Mm-hmm. And
allows me to feel better about just relaxing and letting her go and play on her own.
yes. So for you listeners, come and check out our Facebook and Instagram because I will be posting lots of really easy to set up creative activities for your kids, creative art activities for the little ones. And that can do wonders for your peace of mind. So it's worth it.
Yes, and you already are. There Lisa is always sharing her art projects that she has going on, and they're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, fun.
So thank you.
Thank you. I hope that helps. And
Yeah.
let us know, everybody. Let us know what works for you in your world. Bye.
Hey, so I just wanted to share what my 5 takeaways are from this episode. And number one being 100% undivided attention at the beginning of the day. Number two, transparency of needs, like when mom needs to rest and explaining that to your child. Number three, encouraging creativity supports their emotional, intellectual, physical, and social development. Number four, schools in current day society focus on intellectual learning and neglect the importance of creativity. So, adding this to our home life and activities can really benefit our children. Number five, screen time causes more behavioral problems and does not actually give you a break. So, that's something to consider before we just give them the iPad and let them zone into their own world. And one action step I'd like us to take is to schedule one art activity and let your kids get creative. And then, if you can share it in our Facebook group, we'd love to see how creative your kids are.
Thanks for being here with us in our virtual village. We'd love you to join our Facebook group at The Village Parenting Community and on Instagram at The Village Parenting Pod.
And if you enjoy our podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you have a moment, please leave us a review. It makes a big difference for us in reaching more parents out there who may be feeling alone.
Please direct message us to connect also. We absolutely love hearing from you. And until next week, we'll be keeping it real and raw right here with you.
This podcast is sponsored by the Singing Alma's private parent coaching and workshop offerings, and also by Enlightened Designs for Crafty Mamas.